The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene is an essential guide for anyone looking to understand the psychology of attraction, influence, and connection, offering timeless strategies for building meaningful relationships. This book is nearly 650 pages, and you're going to learn all of the main takeaways in just a few minutes. Let's dive in. Part 1, The Seductive Characters. We'll start by diving into the core seductive archetypes. The Siren. The Siren captivates through an intense allure, offering an escape from the mundane. This character uses confidence and sensuality as their tools, creating a magnetic pull that is nearly impossible to resist. Think of the Siren as someone who embodies the fantasies others are often too timid to express. As Greene puts it, her voice is like a siren call, leading men to distraction. This isn't just about physical beauty, it's about charisma and a promise of excitement and exclusivity. The Siren thrives on creating an air of unattainability. By appearing just out of reach, they keep their target yearning for more, always intrigued and never satisfied. This allure isn't just physical, it's psychological, an emotional invitation to a world of pleasure and mystery. To channel the Siren's power, develop confidence in your presence and speech. Self-assurance naturally attracts. Cultivate mystery by revealing less about yourself and letting others imagine what lies beneath. And most importantly, learn to understand the fantasies of others, what they desire but are too afraid to pursue, and find ways to fulfill them subtly and skillfully. The Siren's charm lies not in being obvious, but in being enchanting. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. The Rake. The Rake seduces through relentless and unapologetic pursuit. Unlike the Siren, who lures others in with subtlety, the Rake dives headfirst into their desires, often ignoring societal norms to win affection. The Rake's greatest weapon is their ability to make their target feel uniquely wanted. As Greene notes, the Rake's greatest weapon is their ability to make their targets feel intensely wanted. This seducer appeals directly to emotions, creating an adventure out of the pursuit itself. The Rake's intensity and confidence break down defenses, making their target feel swept away by a force of nature. Their unapologetic passion invites others to embrace their own desires without judgment. To embody the Rake, show genuine enthusiasm when engaging with others. Make people feel like they're the center of your world, at least for the moment. Be bold in expressing your feelings. Confidence is contagious and persuasive. Lastly, use storytelling and humor to create excitement, weaving your interactions into a narrative that feels extraordinary and memorable. The Ideal Lover. The ideal lover fulfills fantasies and unmet desires with precision and empathy. This character carefully observes and tailors their behavior to reflect the dreams of those they wish to seduce. Greene describes them beautifully. The ideal lover makes others feel complete by filling the voids in their hearts. They don't just attract, they become irresistible by embodying what the target believes they've been searching for. The ideal lover's power lies in their ability to reflect the unspoken desires of others. Through attentiveness and adaptability, they create an illusion of perfection, becoming the embodiment of the target's needs and dreams. If you want to practice this in your life, start by paying close attention to others' habits, preferences, and emotional cues. Use empathy to understand what someone wants or needs on a deeper level, and then find ways to meet those needs sincerely. Finally, adjust your approach to fit their expectations, but do so without losing your authenticity. The Ideal Lover teaches us that seduction is as much about understanding others as it is about expressing ourselves. The Dandy. The dandy captivates by standing out and defying conventions, creating an aura of uniqueness. They break free from societal norms, blending traditionally masculine and feminine traits in ways that intrigue and challenge expectations. This combination of independence and ambiguity makes them seem unattainable, yet irresistibly fascinating. As Greene writes, to be a dandy is to live on your own terms, unconcerned with the judgments of others. Their greatest strength lies in ambiguity, which keeps people guessing and intrigued. The dandy's charm is rooted in their refusal to conform. By cultivating a unique style or personality, they draw admiration from those who value individuality. Imagine someone like David Bowie or Prince, artists who blended fluid identities with creative self-expression, captivating audiences across the world. To channel the dandy, start by developing a style or passion that truly reflects who you are. Embrace your individuality and create a persona that's distinctly you. Avoid being too predictable in your interactions. Ambiguity and confidence are key to your allure. Most importantly, cultivate self-sufficiency. Independence makes the dandy magnetic because they live by their own rules. The natural seduces by embodying the innocence, spontaneity, and playfulness of childhood. They inspire nostalgia and comfort, reminding others of a simpler, happier time. This unpretentious, genuine charm creates an immediate sense of connection. Green describes it perfectly. The natural disarms with their childlike simplicity and openness. People are drawn to their ability to live in the moment and radiate joy. The natural's power lies in their ability to break down barriers with authenticity. Their playful and spontaneous nature makes them approachable and refreshing in a world often weighed down by complications. Think of someone who can turn a tense meeting into laughter or who makes everyone feel comfortable at a social event. To embody the natural, practice being present in the moment and let your true personality shine. Don't overthink your interactions. Engage sincerely and with humor. Let go of self-consciousness and focus on making others feel at ease. Using lightheartedness to create an enjoyable atmosphere is a powerful tool for building lasting connections. The Coquette. The Coquette is a master of the push-pull dynamic, alternating between availability and aloofness to create desire. Their power lies in emotional ambiguity, which keeps others guessing and yearning for more. As Green writes, the coquette keeps their prey in a state of anticipation and longing. Mystery is their secret weapon, and they wield it strategically, offering attention only in doses to heighten its value. The coquette seduces by leaving others emotionally off balance. By being selectively elusive, they ensure their attention feels like a rare reward. Imagine someone who is engaging and warm in one moment, but distant and mysterious in the next. This creates a tension that keeps admirers invested, always wanting more. To channel the coquette, avoid being overly available. Create moments of distance to build anticipation. Be mindful of what you reveal about yourself. Mystery is essential to keeping others intrigued. Finally, learn to time your interactions strategically, offering attention when it will have the most impact. This delicate balance ensures sustained interest and deep emotional investment. The Charismatic. The Charismatic is a natural leader who captivates with their confidence, vision, and emotional resonance. These individuals project a sense of purpose and certainty that attracts people seeking guidance or connection. Green defines charisma as the quality that makes others believe in you and your vision. The charismatic doesn't just speak to the mind, they connect deeply with the heart, channeling energy and conviction in a way that both inspires and motivates. What makes a charismatic truly magnetic is their ability to articulate a compelling vision and connect emotionally with their audience. Think of figures like Martin Luther King Jr. or Oprah Winfrey, people who exude confidence and warmth while radiating an almost otherworldly presence. To channel this archetype, start by cultivating a strong sense of purpose in your own life and communicating it with conviction. Practice active listening to connect with others on an emotional level. And always pair your confidence with warmth, making people feel both inspired and valued in your presence. Charisma isn't about perfection, it's about energy and authenticity. The star. The star enchants by embodying the dreams and aspirations of others, appearing larger than life. Their power lies in their ability to project an image of glamour, mystique, and unattainable beauty, all while remaining just relatable enough to spark connection. As Green says, stars become mirrors, reflecting the dreams and fantasies of their audience. They shine brightly, but their allure is tied to their ability to maintain a sense of mystery. Stars captivate by creating an aspirational image that people want to emulate or be close to. Think of icons like Marilyn Monroe or David Beckham, individuals who seem extraordinary, yet their appeal feels deeply personal. To embrace the star archetype, work on building a personal brand or identity that reflects your strengths and aspirations. In social settings, subtly highlight your uniqueness and talents without being boastful. And most importantly, balance visibility with inaccessibility. The allure of the star comes from being admired from a distance, but remaining slightly out of reach. This combination of intimacy and mystery is what keeps others yearning for more. The Anti-Seducer. While the Charismatic and the star teach us how to attract, the Anti-Seducer warns us about behaviors that repel. Anti-Seducers are marked by traits such as neediness, self-centeredness, or excessive predictability, all of which destroy attraction. Green sums it up well. The Anti-Seducer drains others' energy with their awkwardness and self-absorption. They lack the subtlety and emotional intelligence required for effective seduction, making them unappealing to those around them. The Anti-Seducer's unattractive qualities often stem from insecurity or an inability to adapt to others' needs. They may come across as clingy, dull, or overly controlling, which can make others feel trapped or drained. To avoid falling into this category, develop self-awareness and address any off-putting behaviors you may exhibit. Focus on understanding the needs and desires of those around you instead of being overly self-involved. Finally, avoid excessive predictability. Stay dynamic and engaging in your interactions. Seduction, after all, requires both emotional intelligence and adaptability. Part 2, the seductive process. Phase 1, separation, stirring interest and desire. Chapter 1, choose the right victim. The foundation of successful seduction lies in selecting the right person to engage with. Not everyone is a good candidate for seduction, and targeting the wrong person can lead to frustration, wasted effort, or even conflict. Green emphasizes this when he says, "Seduction is an art, and like any art, it requires the right subject." The right victim is someone who has unmet needs, insecurities, or dreams that align with what you can offer. This chapter reminds us that seduction is not about force, but about understanding. The key is to observe carefully. Look for signs of dissatisfaction or longing in someone's life. These are the vulnerabilities that you can address. Perhaps they're seeking validation, excitement, or emotional connection. Pay attention to body language, tone of voice, and the way they react to others. These cues will help you identify someone who is both receptive and compatible with your strengths. And remember, not everyone will be open to your efforts. Don't waste energy on those who are unavailable or uninterested. By focusing on the right person, you set the stage for a rewarding connection. Chapter 2, create a false sense of security. Approach indirectly. Once you've chosen the right person, the next step is to make your approach, but not too directly. A direct approach can trigger defenses, making the person wary or resistant. Instead, Green advises subtlety. The indirect approach disarms, making your presence seem harmless and inviting. By masking your intentions, you create a sense of safety and intrigue, encouraging them to open up gradually. Think of this process like planting a seed. It requires patience and care. Start with casual interactions that establish rapport. Humor, light conversation, and a relaxed demeanor can help create a comfortable atmosphere. Avoid being too forward or revealing your deeper intentions too quickly. Instead, let the other person grow curious about you. This gradual approach allows trust to develop naturally while maintaining an air of mystery. Subtlety is your ally here, ensuring that the connection feels organic rather than forced. Chapter 3. Send mixed signals. Now that trust is beginning to form, it's time to introduce an element of intrigue. One powerful way to do this is by sending mixed signals. Green explains the psychological impact of this strategy. Mixed signals create confusion, and confusion leads to desire. By alternating between warmth and aloofness, you keep the other person emotionally engaged and slightly off balance. This unpredictability makes your attention feel valuable and keeps them thinking about you. Mixed signals work because they tap into the natural human need for resolution. When someone can't fully understand you, their curiosity drives them to seek answers, deepening their interest in you. To use this strategy effectively, balance moments of genuine attention and affection with brief periods of distance. Don't reveal too much about yourself too soon. Let them wonder about your intentions and feelings. Subtle shifts in tone, behavior, or availability can keep the dynamic engaging and unpredictable. Remember, mystery is a key ingredient in seduction, and mixed signals are a masterful way to create it. Chapter 4. Appear to be an object of desire. Create triangles. People are naturally drawn to what others value. This chapter explores the idea that being desired by others enhances your own desirability. As Green says, desire breeds desire. To be wanted, show that others already want you. Creating triangles introduces a sense of rivalry or social proof, which amplifies your appeal. It plays on the psychological power of competition and exclusivity, making people value what they perceive as coveted. The idea here isn't to create obvious jealousy, but to subtly demonstrate your worth through the admiration or attention of others. For example, being surrounded by friends or admirers can signal your social value, making you more appealing to your target. To use this strategy effectively, surround yourself with people who admire or support you. It projects desirability without forcing the issue. You can also subtly mention moments of interest from others to build intrigue. However, be cautious. Making rivalries too obvious can backfire, as overt manipulation often creates distrust or resentment. The key is to leverage social proof subtly, ensuring your target sees you as someone worth vying for. Chapter 5. Create a need, stir anxiety and discontent. This chapter introduces a deeply psychological concept. Seduction becomes easier when the target feels a void that only you can fill. Green highlights this, stating, "To seduce is to awaken the dissatisfaction buried within." People are most vulnerable to influence when they feel a subtle sense of discontent or longing. By stirring mild anxiety or dissatisfaction, you position yourself as the antidote, deepening their emotional dependence on you. To employ this strategy, begin by identifying areas of frustration or unmet desires in the target's life. Perhaps they're seeking validation, excitement, or a sense of purpose. Once you understand their needs, offer subtle hints or solutions that make your presence feel essential. For example, if someone feels undervalued in their work, you could provide consistent encouragement and recognition, becoming the person who fills that emotional gap. Be careful, though, not to be too direct or critical in pointing out flaws, as this could trigger defensiveness. Instead, rely on empathy and subtlety, allowing the connection to grow naturally as they begin to see you as the solution to their unease. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Chapter 6. Master the Art of Insinuation. Subtlety is the heart of this chapter. Green describes insinuation as a whisper that can carry farther than a shout in the world of seduction. This approach relies on planting ideas indirectly and allowing the target to interpret them in ways that align with their desires. The beauty of insinuation is that it gives the target a sense of discovery and ownership over their feelings, deepening their emotional involvement. Think of insinuation as a way to spark curiosity without being explicit. For example, instead of directly stating your interest in someone, you might hint at it through a story or metaphor that resonates with their experiences. This approach lets the idea grow naturally in their mind, drawing them closer to you. It's important to practice patience. Insinuation often works best when ideas are allowed to mature over time. You can also use open-ended questions to let the target fill in gaps in the conversation, fostering a sense of collaboration. This indirect approach ensures that the connection feels organic and keeps the target engaged and intrigued. Chapter 7. Enter their spirit. True seduction requires more than just surface-level charm. It's about deeply immersing yourself in the other person's world. As Green puts it, to seduce, one must first speak the language of the seduced. This means understanding their perspective, emotions, and values, and reflecting those back to them in an authentic way. By aligning with their passions and seeing the world as they do, you create a connection that feels personal and irreplaceable. This chapter highlights the importance of empathy and adaptability. When you make someone feel understood, you foster trust and intimacy, positioning yourself as uniquely supportive in their life. Imagine a musician connecting with someone who loves music, not by just talking about it, but by playing a song that resonates with them. To practice this, observe the other person's interests and emotional state carefully. Show genuine enthusiasm for their passions, whether it's a hobby, a dream, or a belief. But be cautious not to overdo the mirroring. Authenticity is key. When done well, this approach creates a bond that feels effortless and deeply meaningful. Chapter 8. Create temptation. The next step is creating temptation, which Green defines as offering the target something they secretly crave but feel they cannot have. The essence of temptation, he writes, is the promise of something extraordinary. When you align your presence with their unspoken fantasies, you make yourself irresistible. The allure lies in making the unattainable feel just within reach. This strategy taps into the human desire for indulgence, adventure, or escape from the ordinary. Consider how luxury brands create temptation by offering products that feel just out of reach for most people. This sense of exclusivity enhances their appeal. To apply this in your own life, start by identifying what the other person secretly desires. Is it excitement, validation, or a sense of freedom? Create an environment where indulging in these desires feels safe and natural. Adding a touch of mystery, like hinting at experiences they've never imagined, can heighten the temptation. This approach is not about being flashy, but about subtly presenting yourself as the key to fulfilling their hidden dreams. Phase 2, Lead Astray, Creating Pleasure and Confusion. Chapter 9, Keep Them in Suspense. What comes next? One of the most effective ways to maintain intrigue is by keeping others in suspense. As Green explains, the essence of seduction lies in maintaining an air of mystery and surprise. By being unpredictable, you keep the other person emotionally engaged and constantly thinking about you. Alternating between giving attention and withdrawing it creates a sense of longing and deepens desire. This chapter focuses on the psychological power of unpredictability. When people don't know what to expect, they're compelled to stay engaged, hoping for resolution. Imagine a storyteller who ends each chapter with a cliffhanger. This is the same principle at work. To use this strategy, avoid being overly predictable in your interactions. For instance, after a meaningful conversation or thoughtful gesture, allow some time to pass before reaching out again. Use small surprises, like a spontaneous compliment or an unexpected gift, to keep the dynamic fresh and exciting. This approach ensures that the other person remains intrigued, always wondering what will happen next. Chapter 10. Use the demonic power of words to sow confusion. Words are one of the most powerful tools in seduction. They can disorient, captivate, and lead others into emotional vulnerability. As Green states, words are the bridges to the unconscious. Use them to guide and confuse. When used artfully, words create a sense of ambiguity and intrigue, encouraging the listener to search for meaning and, in doing so, drawing them closer to you. This strategy taps into the subconscious, where desires and emotions are most easily influenced. This chapter emphasizes the seductive power of language that is suggestive rather than direct. For example, metaphors or poetic phrases evoke emotions and allow your target to project their own desires onto your words. Ambiguity can be especially powerful here. Leaving room for interpretation lets the listener fill in the gaps with their imagination, making your communication feel deeply personal. To use this strategy effectively, incorporate evocative imagery and symbolism into your conversations. Pay attention to your tone, rhythm, and pacing, as these can make your words even more captivating. The goal is not to overwhelm with logic, but to create a web of fascination that pulls the other person in emotionally and intellectually. Chapter 11. Pay attention to detail. Seduction often hinges on the little things. Small, thoughtful details can make someone feel special and valued in ways that grand gestures cannot. Green captures this beautifully. Attention to detail transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. When you notice and act on the specific preferences, habits, or interests of your target, you demonstrate care and emotional investment, which fosters intimacy and deepens your connection. For example, remembering someone's favorite coffee order or the story behind their favorite song shows that you're paying close attention. These thoughtful gestures elevate the relationship by creating a bond that feels unique and personal. To practice this, personalize your interactions and gifts in ways that show you truly understand the person. For instance, a book related to their favorite hobby or a handwritten note can leave a lasting impression. Attention to detail also creates a sense of exclusivity. They'll feel that the care you show is reserved just for them. In seduction, these small moments of attentiveness often speak louder than words, leaving a lasting emotional impact. Chapter 12. Poeticize your presence. To stand out in someone's mind, you need to transform your presence into something unforgettable. This chapter focuses on the art of poeticizing yourself, creating an aura of beauty, mystery, and uniqueness. Green puts it simply: to poeticize yourself is to make your presence a work of art. People are drawn to what feels enchanting or extraordinary, and this strategy encourages others to romanticize and idealize you. Poeticizing your presence is about elevating the mundane into the magical. For instance, you can weave storytelling, creative symbolism, or even subtle elegance into your interactions. Imagine dressing in a way that reflects a distinctive personal style or sharing stories that reveal a rich and intriguing inner world. The key is to give others a reason to dream about you. To master this, cultivate an air of elegance or mystique that leaves people inspired and intrigued. Develop a unique persona that feels genuine yet larger than life, ensuring that every encounter feels memorable. By becoming a source of inspiration or fascination, you elevate your appeal and deepen emotional investment. Chapter 13. Disarm through strategic weakness and vulnerability. Vulnerability, when used strategically, is a powerful tool in seduction. Green reminds us, vulnerability is not weakness. It is a form of strength in seduction. By revealing selective weaknesses, you become more relatable and approachable. This openness helps disarm others, lowers their defenses, and creates a safe space for emotional connection. People are naturally drawn to those who feel genuine and human. For instance, sharing a personal story about overcoming a struggle can make someone see you as authentic and trustworthy. It's important, however, to use vulnerability selectively. It should strengthen your connection without undermining your confidence. Avoid being overly guarded in your interactions and let your humanity shine through. This doesn't mean oversharing, but rather showing just enough imperfection to make others feel closer to you. By doing this, you foster trust and intimacy, positioning yourself as someone they can confide in and depend on. Chapter 14. Confuse desire and reality. The perfect illusion. Seduction thrives on the ability to blur the lines between fantasy and reality. As Green explains, illusions are the glue that binds desire to reality. This chapter teaches us that creating an idealized image or experience keeps the target captivated, offering them an enchanting escape from the ordinary. The key is to mix reality with fantasy so seamlessly that they can no longer distinguish between the two. This strategy is about crafting memorable moments that feel magical or extraordinary. For example, planning an evening filled with surprises, such as an unexpected gesture or a beautifully arranged setting, can transport someone into a dreamlike state. By using mystery and symbolism, you evoke a sense of wonder and intrigue that leaves them yearning for more. Just be careful not to break the illusion too soon. Let them fully immerse themselves in the experience. When done well, this approach positions you as the source of something extraordinary, making your presence synonymous with their most cherished fantasies. Chapter 15. Isolate the victim. Isolation is one of the most effective ways to deepen emotional bonds. Green explains it succinctly. Isolation is the forge where deep connections are made. By removing distractions and external influences, you create a space where your connection can flourish. This separation, whether physical or emotional, fosters intimacy and makes your bond feel unique and exclusive. Think of this strategy as creating a world where it feels like only the two of you exist. For example, planning a quiet one-on-one evening in a private or meaningful setting allows for deeper conversations and emotional sharing. This environment helps you become their primary focus, building trust and dependency. However, it's crucial to avoid making this isolation feel controlling. Instead, focus on creating a safe and welcoming space where they feel comfortable opening up. By encouraging them to share personal thoughts or emotions, you strengthen the connection in a way that feels natural and empowering. Phase 3. The precipice. Deepening the effect through extreme measures. Chapter 16. Prove yourself. To truly captivate someone, you often need to demonstrate your worth and commitment. As Green puts it, prove your value by going beyond what is expected. Acts of sacrifice or effort can show the target that they are valued and cherished, making them feel special in a way that deepens trust and affection. Sacrifice, as Green notes, is the language of devotion in the realm of seduction. It signals sincerity and dedication, solidifying emotional connections. Proving yourself doesn't require grandiose gestures, but meaningful ones. For instance, taking time to help someone with a personal challenge or remembering and acting on a small detail about their preferences can show that you truly care. The key is consistency. Reliability and devotion build trust over time. However, be careful not to overdo it. Sacrifices should feel genuine and appropriate to the situation. The goal is to make your actions meaningful and to demonstrate that you're willing to go the extra mile to nurture the connection. This effort creates a lasting impression and positions you as someone indispensable in their life. Chapter 17. Effect a regression. Next, we explore the idea of regression, which is all about tapping into the target's inner child and evoking a sense of nostalgia or vulnerability. Green writes, "To regress is to return to a simpler, more vulnerable self, ripe for seduction. By encouraging the target to let go of their adult defenses, you create an atmosphere where they feel safe, cared for, and open to intimacy. This approach strengthens emotional bonds by making you a source of comfort and warmth. Think about how people are often drawn to things that remind them of happy memories or simpler times. Sharing playful activities, reminiscing about childhood experiences, or revisiting nostalgic music or places can create a sense of connection. Offering comfort and reassurance in times of stress can also evoke these feelings, making you seem indispensable. Lightheartedness and humor are powerful tools here as they help the target relax and lower their defenses. This strategy works because it taps into primal desires for safety and care, creating a bond that feels deeply personal and secure. Chapter 18. Stir up the transgressive and taboo. The strategy in this trio involves the forbidden. Green explains, what is forbidden is often what is most desired. Adding an element of transgression or taboo to your interactions heightens emotional intensity and excitement. Encouraging the target to step outside societal norms or explore hidden desires can create a sense of liberation and shared adventure. When you break a taboo together, it forges a bond that feels unique and exhilarating. This doesn't mean pushing boundaries recklessly. It's about creating a safe space where the target feels free to explore parts of themselves they might otherwise suppress. For instance, you might encourage them to take a small risk, try something unconventional, or indulge in a playful rebellion against routine. These experiences not only intensify the connection, but also make the relationship feel exciting and memorable. However, it's essential to approach this strategy with care. Be mindful of the target's comfort and boundaries to ensure the experience remains positive and consensual. Chapter 19. Use spiritual lures. Seduction becomes truly transformative when it taps into a person's higher aspirations or spiritual yearnings. As Green beautifully writes, the soul yearns for connection. Give them a taste of the divine. By appealing to a sense of purpose or transcendence, you create a connection that goes beyond the physical, blending romance with meaning. When someone feels that you align with their deeper beliefs or values, your presence feels purposeful and significant. To use spiritual lures, start by understanding what inspires or moves the other person. Do they have a passion for a cause, a personal philosophy, or dreams of making an impact in the world? Engage with these higher ideals and show genuine interest in their aspirations. Create moments of reflection by sharing meaningful conversations or experiences that feel soulful. For instance, discussing a thought-provoking book or attending a cultural or spiritual event together can forge a bond that feels profound. This approach works because it makes the relationship feel transformative, aligning with their deepest sense of self. Chapter 20. Mix pleasure with pain. Desire often thrives on contrasts, and this chapter explores the power of mixing pleasure with pain to heighten emotional intensity. Green reminds us, the sweetest pleasures are often tinged with pain. By introducing moments of challenge or unpredictability, you create an emotional roller coaster that keeps the target deeply engaged and invested. This dynamic works because the tension between highs and lows amplifies the connection, making the pleasure more rewarding and the relationship more compelling. This strategy could look like balancing moments of closeness and joy with brief periods of distance or emotional challenge. For example, you might surprise someone with an incredibly thoughtful gesture, only to step back briefly afterward to let them process and yearn for your presence. The unpredictability of these shifts keeps interactions dynamic and exciting. However, it's important to use this approach with care. Overdoing it can create strain. Instead, focus on subtle contrasts that maintain balance and ensure the relationship remains healthy and respectful. The goal is to keep desire alive by dancing on the edge of discomfort without tipping into harm. Phase 4. Moving in for the kill. Chapter 21. Give them space to fall. The pursuer is pursued. In this phase, the dynamic shifts as you step back and allow the other person to come to you. Green puts it succinctly: absence sharpens desire. Too much presence dulls it. By withdrawing or giving space, you create an emotional vacuum that compels the target to seek you out, reinforcing their emotional investment. This strategy ensures that your attention feels precious and rare, increasing your value in their eyes. To apply this, occasionally take breaks from communication or interaction. These pauses create anticipation and longing, drawing the other person closer. For instance, after an intense or meaningful exchange, let the connection breathe and allow them to reach out to you. Subtlety is key here. You don't want your withdrawal to feel calculated or manipulative. Instead, it should come across as natural, even effortless. By giving them the opportunity to take initiative, you create a sense of mutual investment, ensuring the relationship feels balanced and deeply meaningful. Chapter 22. Use physical lures. The body is a powerful tool in seduction, capable of communicating what words cannot. Green reminds us, subtle touches speak louder than overt advances in the language of attraction. Physical presence and sensuality amplify emotional intimacy, engaging the senses and deepening the bond. This chapter focuses on how subtle gestures, touch, and proximity can evoke strong emotional responses and make the connection more tangible. To use physical lures effectively, start with body language and eye contact to communicate warmth and attraction. A lingering glance or a slight lean forward during conversation can convey interest without saying a word. Incorporate subtle, respectful touches, such as a light brush on the arm or a playful tap, to build a sense of connection and comfort. However, it's vital to be mindful of boundaries. Physical cues should feel welcomed and appropriate to the dynamic. When done thoughtfully, physical lures strengthen both emotional and physical intimacy, creating a connection that feels multidimensional and deeply engaging. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Chapter 23. Master the art of the bold move. At some point in seduction, hesitation must give way to decisiveness. Green asserts, in seduction there comes a time when hesitation must be cast aside. The bold move is about recognizing the right moment to act decisively, demonstrating confidence and intent. Boldness eliminates ambiguity and inspires trust, signaling commitment and certainty in the relationship. The key to mastering the bold move is timing. Pay attention to cues that indicate readiness, such as sustained eye contact, emotional vulnerability, or an intimate atmosphere. For example, if a meaningful conversation naturally shifts into silence, that might be the perfect moment for a bold gesture, like a kiss or a heartfelt declaration. Approach these moments with confidence, ensuring your actions feel intentional and emotionally attuned. However, avoid rushing. Bold moves should feel like the next natural step in the progression of your connection. When executed with precision, this strategy can solidify the bond and transform the dynamic into something deeper and more intense. Chapter 24. Beware the Aftereffects. The final chapter serves as a reminder that seduction doesn't end with conquest. It's what happens afterward that determines the lasting impact. Green warns, the end of seduction is only the beginning of its consequences. How you handle the aftermath of seduction is crucial to sustaining the connection. Neglecting this phase can lead to resentment, detachment, or even emotional fallout. By showing continued care and attentiveness, you ensure that the bond remains meaningful and strong. To navigate the aftermath successfully, be mindful of the other person's feelings and emotional state. Open communication is essential. address expectations, and follow through on any promises or commitments you've made. Avoid abrupt detachment, as this can undermine trust and leave a bitter aftertaste. Instead, offer clarity, kindness, and reassurance to preserve mutual respect. Ultimately, how you handle the conclusion of seduction determines whether you're remembered with love or regret. This phase is not just about sustaining the relationship, but also about honoring the emotional investment of the other person. At its core, the art of seduction is about mastering the art of human connection by understanding the emotions, desires, and motivations that drive people. It teaches that seduction is not about manipulation, but about creating meaningful bonds through empathy, intrigue, and authenticity. By studying its strategies, you gain tools to deepen relationships, enhance your influence, and enrich your interactions with others. Ultimately, the book offers a blueprint for becoming not only more captivating, but also more thoughtful and intentional in your connections.